Hello everyone, welcome to CommerceNet Scholars. I hope you all are perfectly fit and fine and you are being regular with the studies. In today's video, the topic that we'll be discussing is the different types of fire insurance policy. In my previous video, we have already discussed about the procedure for carrying out the fire insurance policy. Today we'll discuss about the types. Basically, there are 16 types of fire insurance policy, out of which 8 I'll be discussing in today's video and the remaining 8 I'll be discussing in the upcoming video that I'll be posting after this. So let's start with today's video and understand the different types of fire insurance policy. Talking about the first one, we have the valued policy. The first type that we have is the valued policy. Under this type of policy, value of the property is predetermined at the inception, and in the event of loss, the value is limited to the sum assured irrespective of its market value. So in valued policy, whatever value of the property is there, it will be determined at the time of the inception of the policy only, and at the event of loss, even if the market value of the property is more than what it was incepted earlier, in spite of this fact, the compensation will be provided at the predetermined rate only. It will not be changed. The amount cannot be greater than or lesser than the specified. The policy is very useful for the insurance of pictures, sculpture, jewelry, rare things, work of art, etc. So these are certain items for which this policy proves to be beneficial. Generally, when we are insuring our property, the value of the property gets increased or decreased with the passage of time. But generally, when we are talking about some special artwork, artistic works, certain pictures or scriptures, its value generally remains at par. So this is all about the valued policy. Moving to the next one, that is the valuable policy. Valuable policy is that policy where claim amount is to be determined at the market price of the damaged property. That is, you are going to determine the loss that actually the company or the insured has incurred at the present value. Whatever present market price is prevalent at right now, that would be the value of the damaged property. The amount of loss is not determined at the time of commencement of risk, but is determined at the time and place of loss. So this is a policy which truly represents the doctrine of indemnity. Indemnity means making good the loss. That means compensating you for the loss. Next we have the specific policy. Under this policy, the insurance company will pay the entire loss to the policy holder, provided that this loss does not exceed the specified sum mentioned in the policy. In a specific policy, the value of property insured has no relevance in arriving at the measure of indemnity, and the sum assured sets the upper limit of loss compensation. So herein, what do we understand? In specific policy, whatever is the loss that you have incurred, generally I have told you that when you are taking an insurance policy, especially the fire insurance policy, you will be getting the amount as per what loss you have incurred, not considering the policy value for which you are taking the insurance policy. But under a specific policy, the amount of loss or the value of property will be the value of property will not be taken into consideration. Rather, the loss that you have incurred, for that consideration, the entire compensation will be paid to you, whatever was promised. Next we have the floating policy. Floating policy, when the quantity of goods fluctuate and cannot be ascertained at the time of insurance, a floating policy is taken. You can understand this with a small example. Generally, whatever goods you people are keeping as a businessman in the warehouses and all, you are not very sure of what is the amount of that particular goods or the assets that you have kept in the warehouses. In that case, when you are not sure about the value of the property, you take a floating policy that provides you a rough idea about it. The policy is specifically designed to meet requirements of big traders or manufacturers whose stock of goods might be lying at different places, maybe at go down, at warehouse, at port, or at railway station, as I told you right now. So this is all about floating policy, wherein the value is not fixed, it keeps on changing. Hence we enter into a floating policy, wherein on the basis of a rough idea about the value of goods, the policy is given to the insured. Next we have the average policy. The policy which contains the average clause is called the average policy, and the claim under this policy is settled according to the value of subject matter insured. Now, one thing you need to remember under average policy, first thing I would like to tell you that this is really very important. Second thing, that this policy has the average clause present in it. Now, what is that average clause? We'll understand by a small example. For example, the property worth rupees 1,20,000 is insured only for rupees 80,000, and loss occurs worth rupees 48,000. There is an average clause in the policy. In that case, the claim that you will be getting will be calculated by this particular formula, wherein the claim will be insured value upon value of property into actual loss. So whatever amount comes, that is 32,000, will be paid by the insurer, and the balance 16,000 amount will be borne by the insured himself. So this is all about average clause, wherein averaging is done, like whatever amount is there, it has to be managed accordingly. And this is generally taken in case of underinsurance. Underinsurance is a situation wherein the value of property is more than the actual policy value that you have taken. Here also you can see property is 1,20,000, but the insurance is taken only for rupees 80,000. So in that case, averaging is done, and whatever amount comes after the averaging value is paid by the insurer, rest is borne by the insured himself. Now, talking about the excess policy. This policy is a combination of floating as well as average policy. Under floating policy, the stock of businessman fluctuates from time to time. If he takes the policy for higher amount, he has to pay higher premium. On the other hand, if he insures for lower amount, as in the case of average policy, he will have to bear a proportion of the loss, as we had a small example. Now, to avoid this situation, this is what I told you right now in excess policy, that this is the best combination of floating and average policy. Whenever a businessman has to get a policy insured for the goods that are lying at different spots or different places, it's really tough for the businessman to manage it. So in that case, excess policy is taken to avoid the problem of average loss, wherein some part of the loss is to be borne by the insurer himself. To avoid this, two policies are taken by business person, one on first clause policy and the other on excess policy. The first clause policy will cover the minimum level of stock, and the excess policy will cover the other which exceeds the minimum limit. So say for example, if you have taken the policy for rupees 1 lakh, the minimum value of the property, if suppose the value of the property is 2 lakh, the minimum value of the property will be covered under the first clause policy, and whatever value exceeds after that, that will be covered under excess policy. So if I talk about my previous example, we can understand this 32,000 would be paid to you under the first clause policy, and the 16,000 amount would be paid to you under the excess loss policy. I hope it's clear. Next we have the reinstatement policy. Under this policy, insurer undertakes to reinstate the insured property after happening of the loss. As for example, property lost by fire is replaced irrespective of its value at the time of loss. So generally, reinstatement policy means what? You are replacing the assets, whatever have been damaged in the incident of fire, whatever assets are in the situation of repair, they are repaired, others are replaced by a new asset. This policy is also called new for old because old property is replaced by new. The policy is issued only for plants, buildings and machinery, and not for stock or materials. In other policies where there is a fire, in case of building or plant and machinery, the loss is determined subject to deduction of depreciation from original cost. So this is all about the reinstatement policy, wherein the asset or the property that you have lost is generally replaced. Now talking about the comprehensive policy, here the insurer undertakes to indemnify the insured not only for fire risk but all other risks such as burglary, theft, riot, civil commotion, lightning, flood, etc. If you remember, I have already discussed about the scope of fire insurance, wherein we had the ordinary scope and the comprehensive scope. So basically comprehensive policy will be covering the comprehensive scope of fire insurance, which covers not only the risks associated with fire but all other risks such as burglary, theft, riot or civil commotion, lightning, flood, etc. that may arise during the incident of fire or on, before or after that. I just hope this is clear to you all. Any doubts, any confusions, you can mention down in the comment section below. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.